channel. My name is Cimonealise and I stream daily on beauty, self-care, and more. And this is my reading series where I've been reading different books to you guys every day in the morning. It's not the morning, but it's not the night. But the books we're reading right now are Because of Winn-Dixie, Hello Habits, and I tucked away the novel just because I feel like it would be more purposeful to get through more books versus like spending more time on a single book. And then it's just easier for me to read overall. So I'm going to introduce a new book today as well, which is Creative Visualization, which is a book I like.
These books for them.
You want to?
Yeah, me.
Okay, we'll do that on your channel. How about that? Make a channel for you where you can read your kid books. Would that be fun?
No, I just want you to just read one.
I can read one.
Let me just pick one and see which one's.
Okay. I need a... I'm going to snatch this up.
I didn't mean to make it so loud.
You're okay. Thank you for being mindful, though. Ooh, shiitake. There we go. I'm not trying to zoom. There we go. Nara's up from her nap. We went to the gym earlier.
Mommy, which one do you want to read?
I don't know. Up to you. So we're going to read 4 books? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, no. Mommy, you can give me one of Nani's. And then we can read more of Nani's as we go along.
Okay.
Which Nani book?
Let's read Cookie, but I want to read it.
Okay, so you're going to do that one last then. Okay? Cool
Let me
business.
just grab this real quick.
What you grabbing? You looking for the little stick?
Yeah.
It's over here on the bookshelf in that book. And I'm looking for the glasses I just had. Okay, there you go.
What book?
The green one? Yep. There you go. Anyways, okay, so let's get into it. Let's start reading, and I'm going to start with the kids' book first. Nara's going to end it with a kids' book. So the first one is my favorite childhood book, which was Because of Winn-Dixie.
Can I put them all my books away then?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So we're on chapter 3.
Guys, look. I got this mug cookie. Now,
So you're not going to wait. Okay, go for it.
shine big hair love.
That's curls. That's the back of it, though.
I like something like that. And the little mermaid make a splash.
Ooh, ooh. Okay, cool business. There we go.
And the last one. Moo.
Okay. Now, so I don't want to tell them, but you know what was supposed to happen when you came home today, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll let you know when it's time for you to read your book, or you can just chill out and hang out on the couch. Up to you which one you want to do.
Can I just let you?
No, I give you your options, babe. I love you very much. Thank you. Okay, chapter 3. I started in on Winn-Dixie right away, trying to clean him up. First, I gave him a bath, I used the garden hose and some baby shampoo. He stood still for it, but I could tell he didn't like it. He looked insulted, and the whole time he didn't show me his teeth or wag his tail once. After he was all washed and dried, I brushed him good. I used my own hairbrush and worked real hard at all the knots and patches of fur stuck together. He didn't mind being brushed. He wiggled his back. I like it felt pretty good. The whole time I was working on him, I was talking to him and he listened. I told him how we're alike. See, I said, you don't have any family, neither do I. I got the preacher, of course, but I don't have a mama. I mean, I have one, but I don't know where she is. She left when I was 3 years old. I can't hardly remember her. And I bet you don't remember your mama much either. So we're almost like orphans. Winn-Dixie looked straight at me when I said that to him, like he was feeling relieved to finally have somebody understand his situation. I nodded my head at him and went on talking. I don't even have any friends because I have to leave them all behind when we moved here from Whately. Whately up in North Florida. Have you ever been to North Florida? Winn-Dixie looked down at the ground like he was trying to remember if he had. You know what? I said, ever since we moved here, I've been thinking about my mama extra hard, more than I ever did when I was in Whately. Winn-Dixie twitched his ears and raised his eyebrows. I think the preacher thinks about my mama all the time, too. He's still in love with her. I know that because I heard the ladies at the church at Whately talking about him. They said, they said he's still hoping she'll come back. But he doesn't tell me that. He won't talk up to me about her at all. I want to know more about her, but I'm afraid to ask the preacher. I'm afraid he'll get mad at me. Winn-Dixie looked at me hard, like he was trying to say something. What? I said. He stared at me. You think I should make the preacher tell me about her? Winn-Dixie looked at me so hard, he sneezed. I'll think about it, I said. When I was done working on him, Winn-Dixie looked a whole lot better. He still had his bald spots, but the fur that he did have cleaned up nice. It was all shiny and soft. You can still see his ribs, but I intended to feed him good, and that would take care of that. I couldn't do anything about his crooked yellow teeth because he got into a sneezing fit every time I started brushing them with my toothbrush, and I finally had to give up. But for the most part, he looked a whole lot better. So I took him into the trailer and showed him to the preacher. Daddy, I said. He said. He was working on a sermon and kind of muttering to himself. Daddy, I wanted to show you the new Winn-Dixie. The preacher put down his pencil and rubbed his nose, and finally he looked up. Well, he said, smiling real big at Winn-Dixie. He said, was working on his sermon and kind of muttering to himself. Daddy, I want to show you the new Winn-Dixie. The preacher put down the pencil and rubbed his nose and finally looked up. Well, he said, smiling real big at Winn-Dixie. Well, now, don't you look handsome? Winn-Dixie smiled back at the preacher. Went over and put his head in the preacher's lap. He smells nice too, said the preacher, rubbed Winn-Dixie's head and looked into his eyes. Daddy, I said real quick before I lost all my nerve, I've been talking to Winn-Dixie. Is that right? The preacher said. He scratched Winn-Dixie's head. I've been talking to him and he agreed with me that since I'm 10 years old and you should tell me 10 things about my mama. Just 10 things, that's all. The preacher stopped rubbing Winn-Dixie's head and held real still. I could see him thinking about pulling his head back into his shell. One thing for each year I've been alive, I told him. Please? Winn-Dixie looked up at the preacher and kind of gave him a nudge with his nose. The preacher sighed and he said to Winn-Dixie, I should have guessed you were going to be troubled. Then he looked at me. Come on, Opal, he said. Sit down. I will tell you 10 things about your mama. Okay. We'll find out what those 10 things are tomorrow. And that is chapter 3 from Because of Winn-Dixie, written by Kate DeMillico. Someone asked me what's my favorite book of all time. It was this one from when I was a little kid. And it's still this is the exact book that I bought when I was a little kid. It's all like water damage and everything. I've had it for over like 15 years. Yeah, okay. The next book we're going to read into is Hello Habits. And we're going to start. We finished the 4 Agreements last week. I'm really enjoying this reading series. As you can see, it's giving me an opportunity to get through my actual shelf and like have fun with it, you know? So there's that. So we're going to read chapter 1. We read the introduction to this book yesterday. Hello Habits, chapter 1. What is willpower? This book is written by Fumio Sasaki. Fumio Sasaki. If I'm saying that wrong, I apologize. Fumio, last name Sasaki. A Minimalist Guide to a Better Life. The internationally best-selling author of Goodbye, Things Share insights and practices to help us embrace habits and become the best versions of ourselves. Okay, and this is the author. Okay, that's him. So we're going to read chapter 1. How I spend my days. I'm exactly the type of person I wanted to be. My favorite film director, Clint Eastwood, once said something cool like that. There's no way I could ever say that, but I'm spending the type of days that I used to want to spend. I like to give you a look at the average day in my life. My schedule on a Nani's not having good feelings right now. She's having big feelings. I don't want to call them good. All feelings are feelings. She's having big feelings right now, and we're having a parenting day right now, and she's really pushing the boundaries, but I love that she's taking her big feelings and she's putting it into her guitar right now. So I hear her playing her guitar in her room right now, because she's not allowed to have screens for the rest of the day, so she's bored. So she's gonna like try to hug her since she doesn't have her screens, which is fine. I love my baby, but she has consequences. But I love that she chose her guitar, you know? But anyways, let's get back to it. So, chapter 1, How I Spend My Days. Hello, habits. I'm exactly the type of person I wanted to be. My favorite film director, Clint Eastwood, once said something cool like that. There is no way I could ever say that, but I'm spending the type of days that I used to want to spend. I like to give you a look at the average day in my life. My schedule on a typical day: 5 a.m. Get up is better. Get up and then do some yoga. 5:30 a.m. Meditate. 6 a.m. Work on my writing or my blog. 7 a.m. Clean my house, take a shower, do the laundry, have breakfast, prepare my lunch. 8 a.m. Write in my diary, practice English, and read the news or social media. 9:10 a.m. Take a power nap, a strategic way to go back to bed. 9:30 a.m. Commute to the library. 11:30 a.m. Eat lunch. 2:30 p.m. Leave the library. 3 p.m. Take a power nap. 3:30 p.m. Go to the gym. 5:30 p.m. Shop for groceries at the supermarket, return emails, and check social media. 6 p.m. Watch a movie after dinner. 9 p.m. Bring out my yoga mat and stretch. 9:30 p.m. Go to bed. Okay, let me see. I just realized I was not in frame. Sorry. My schedule is basically the same each day, and it doesn't change whether if it's the weekend or a holiday. My off days are when I have special plans like seeing friends, going to events, or traveling. I take about a day off each week. I'm now 38 and single. I live alone and I write as an occupation. Anyone can do that if they're single and they have freedom as a freelancer. You may think, but things are completely different for me when I first obtained the time and the freedom that I had dreamed of. Enjoying retirement for a while. All of humanity's problems stem from a man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. Blaise Pascal. In 2016, I left the publishing company where I worked and began writing freelance. As I had just received a bonus, I wouldn't have to worry about money for a while. No one would get mad at me, no matter how much I slept each day, and I was free to go out and frolic during business hours. I had spent 12 busy years working as an editor, and wouldn't hurt to take it easy for a while. That's what I thought. So I took up diving, surfing, marathon running, taking on as many challenges that have been on my bucket list. There are many new skills I've learned too. Driving a car, growing vegetables, and DIY work. I moved from Tokyo to Kyoto and enjoyed visiting places I didn't know, like in the Kansai area. Kansai area. This may appear to be an ideal situation. Many people would probably like to spend their time like this if they won lottery or after they retire, not doing things you don't like doing and doing everything you ever wanted to do. We're happier if we don't have too much free time. When I was working as an editor, it had been a great joy to read books during the short breaks I had after eating lunch. I thought I had more time to enjoy myself if I quit work. But in reality, it wasn't like that. You don't tend to read when you have the whole day to read. People often imagine that they could do something if they had the time. But sometimes you can't if you have too much time on your hands. It was also tough to find something to do each day. I come up with a chore and take care of it, and I find a place that looked interesting to visit and go there. But I would eventually get bored. I ended up daydreaming more often. I would throw my abdominal release ball at the ceiling and catch it as it came back down. This was the only thing I had lately gotten good at doing. One time, I went to a nearby hot spring spa in the neighborhood in the afternoon. Now go to bed. Go to bed. Good night. I love you. Whole heart. I'll wake you up when it's time to eat dinner. Okay, let's see. It was also tough to find something to do each day. I come up with a chore and take care of it. I find a place to look interesting and visit it and go there, but I would eventually get bored. I ended up daydreaming more often. I would throw my abdominal release ball at the ceiling and catch it as it came back down. This was the only thing I had lately gotten good at doing. One time I went to a nearby hot spring spa in the neighborhood in the afternoon, but then I realized that for some reason I wasn't happy at all. It was no wonder. I had no stress or fatigue that needed to be healed. According to a study conducted by the Japanese government, the level of our happiness is said to decrease when we have more than 7 free hours in a day. I really agree. I think the conditions for happiness are the luxury of time and the freedom to do what you want. But being totally immersed in time and freedom isn't going to make you happy either. What awaited me after I escaped from a lack of freedom was the pain of freedom. Gandhi once said, Indolence is a delightful but distressing state. We must be doing something to be happy. I feel the same way. There was delight, but it was very distressing. The vegetables I started planting wouldn't grow at all. I looked at those vegetables and thought they were kind of like me. This wasn't the way things were supposed to be. People often say, let's just do things that we like to do. That's a good idea, but it's completely different from doing only the things we like to do. A safety net a safety net called minimalism. What saved me was the fact that I was practicing a minimalist lifestyle. I had few things at home and had a habit of tidying up and cleaning house. There is a connection between the state of your mind and the state of your home. I think the fact that my place was always clean and supported me like a safety net when I fell into a depression. I'm really glad I reduced my possessions. It was also good that I had already stopped drinking. If I hadn't, I think I would have started drinking in a broad daylight to distract myself. What had been missing in me was a sense of achievement in everyday life, feeling a sense of self development. I should have known deep down playing hooky and staying away from school might make you happy if you can get away with it. But the pleasure will eventually wear off. More than once I felt tormented after thinking up some excuse and writing it on our schedule board and leaving the office. I feel a strong sense of fate in the fact that I had chosen habits as my next theme to write about after minimalism. Without this theme, my mind might have gone back to my sloppy pre-minimalist days. Of course, with my current habits, I take advantage of my position as a freelancer. They wouldn't be possible if I had young children. But you can acquire habits just because you have lots of time and energy. And in fact, these things can sometimes turn out to be obstacles. I believe that the efforts I made and the things I've learned in order to acquire habits will be useful in some way, even to people who are busy with their work or raising children. Why do New Year resolutions end up being failures? All of mine have been failures. Getting up early in the morning and living an ordered life, maintaining a clean place to live, not overeating or drinking excessively, maintaining my proper weight, exercising regularly, getting started on my studies and my work instead of postponing things, sleep, cleaning house, eating, exercising, studying, work. The habits that we want to acquire are mostly the same for everyone. The problem lies in identifying why is it so tough to accomplish them. I'm no exception. I've always continued to set objectives for the new year. In one study, the probability of these targets being accomplished by the end of the year was a mere 8%. My objectives were always among the 92% that weren't fulfilled, and my New Year's resolutions never changed. I always thought it was because I had weak willpower. I have a weak will. Everyone says that when they can't accomplish something. It's a way of thinking that there are people in this world who have a strong will and those who have a weak will. It's this willpower that I like to consider. Although it might get a little complicated, I like to give detailed consideration to this willpower that everyone mentions without really knowing too much about what it is and how it works. Why is it so tough to acquire habits in the first place? It's because there are contradictions between the rewards that we see in front of us and the rewards in the future. Everything is based on a reward and punishment. As the idea of reward and punishment are indispensable things for habits, I like to sort through them in advance. Eating good food, getting plenty of sleep, earning money, interacting with your favorite people and peers, interacting with your favorite people and peers, getting likes on social media. All these are rewards. You can simply consider them things that make you feel good. We can consider that all human actions are taken looking for some type of reward. The problem is that there are sometimes contradictions. It's a reward to eat the sweets set in front of you. It's also a reward to make an effort not to eat them and to get healthy or enhance your figure instead. We can say that gaining weight or getting sick as a result of eating too much are punishments. It means that if we keep enjoying the rewards in front of us, we'll not only be unable to obtain rewards in the future, but we'll also end up getting punished in them. Hold on one moment. Underneath the sink, please. Jesus. Listen. Let's see. One second. Okay, let's see. I'm trying to make this go up. I think that's a pretty decent angle right there. Cool business. Cool business. Put a little bit over this hat right now. Okay. Let's finish reading, you guys. And I got my tea. Alright. You put your, okay, good job. Thank you. Yep, and then put it in a bag. Okay? Thank you.
Someone named Silas just put one of these on his face last time. In kindergarten, someone named Silas, he put these up on his
You
face.
cannot do that.
I
There.
know why he did that. It's supposed to run stuff, not the face.
Exactly. Okay. Finish reading. We're reading Hello Habits. Chapter 1. We're on page 8. Had a little intermission. My apologies. So the problem lies in identifying... No, there we go. As ideas of reward and punishment are indispensable themes or habits, I like to sort through them in advance. Eating good food, getting plenty of sleep, earning money, interacting with your favorite people and peers, getting likes on social media. All of these are rewards, and you can simply consider them things that make you feel good. We consider all that human actions are taken looking for some type of reward. The problem is that there are sometimes contradictions. It's a reward to eat the sweets set in front of you. It's also a reward to make an effort not to eat them and to get healthy or to enhance your figure instead. We can say that gaining weight or getting sick as a result of eating too much are punishment. It means that if we keep enjoying the rewards in front of us, we'll not only be unable to obtain rewards in the future, but we'll also end up getting punished someday. We know the types of actions we're supposed to take. Losing weight by making an effort not to eat, exercising instead of lying around, getting up early in the morning instead of staying up late, engaging in some pastime, getting to our work or studies instead of playing games or using our smartphones. But it isn't all that easy. We know we'll be able to get ready to go out in the morning at a leisurely pace and board the train before rush hour, a reward. If we get up early but we can't overcome the temptation of staying in bed for 5 more minutes, which is a reward, and keep hitting the snooze button even when we know that it is booze that will give me a hangover, a punishment. We can't stop drinking from the bottle of wine in our hand, a reward. We're aware that waiting to get started on our work or our homework will result in getting frantic, a punishment later on, yet can't help getting wrapped up in the game or our smartphone, a reward. The reason why we can't acquire good habits is because we often surrender the reward in front of us. People who can overcome the rewards flashing in front of their eyes in order to win rewards in the future or avoid punishment are sometimes called people with strong willpower. An apple today or 2 apples tomorrow. What if Billy came home from school one day and his mom said to him, "Hi Billy, you can have a cake a year from now if you do your homework before you go out to play." Wouldn't Billy or anyone else for that matter head straight to the field where his friend is and waiting for him? Or his friend is waiting for him? It isn't easy for people to imagine future rewards, so they tend to see the value of and choose rewards that are in front of them instead of those that await for them in the future. It was apples that Richard Thaler, a theorist in behavioral economics, used in an expert experiment to consider this issue. I would like you to think about which of the following choices you would make. Question 1. Would you rather A. receive an apple a year from today, or B. receive 2 apples a year and a day from today? Would you rather A. receive an apple a year from today, or B. receive 2 apples a year and a day from today? The majority of people who were asked this chose B. They will have to wait a whole year. Another day won't make them suffer. They chose to obtain 2 apples. However, question 2, would you rather receive an apple today, B, receive 2 apples tomorrow? In this case, many people, even those who chose B as their previous choice, chose A, the necessary action of waiting an additional day to receive an additional apple. And the reward for waiting are exactly the same. But for some reason, the responses changed. Some people may not like the apples. Not everyone is attracted to apples, as Adam was. So an experiment was also conducted using money, which everyone should like. Question 3. Would you rather receive cash on Friday, for example, receive $10, or B, receive 25% more cash on Monday, i.e. 3 days later, for example, and receive $12.50? The interesting thing is that when when asked before Friday, most people would not rationally choose B. But when they asked on Friday, 60% changed their minds and chose the lesser amount in front of them. Maybe you'll choose B when you're calm-headed, like when you're reading this book. But what if $10 bill is being waved in front of you? And then I give you like a little visual. Hyperbolic discounting. Question 1. Receive an apple a year from today. Or B. Receive 2 apples a year and a day from now. And then the question 2 was receive an apple today or B. Receive 2 apples tomorrow. It's hard to visualize an apple that you'll be receiving a year from now. And it doesn't really seem to concern you. So you choose this response with the extra day of waiting. The more distant a reward may be in the future, the less value it seems to have. This doesn't only apply to rewards. The same thing can be said for punishment. You'll be pressured right before your exams if you don't start studying early. But at the earlier point, you can imagine how... Oh my goodness, girl, what are you doing?
I don't want
okay.
ants on my hand.
Oh my goodness, girl. What? You're doing a whole lot right now. And then you got it on your bed. That's the worst place for me. How much are you seeing? Maybe you're in your backpack. Where do you think you're going to go? Where do you think you're going to go? Did you put it where? Girl. This is a lot. I just want to stay home and not stress about stuff. Jesus. I gotta go. Okay, love you. Bye bye. Oh.